There's a food that's probably sitting in your fridge right this second. But what if I told you it has a secret history? A history that is way more powerful than you could ever imagine.
What if this one simple food was actually a key piece of technology for our ancestors, something that helped entire societies to grow and expand? I know, it sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie, right? But this is real history.
And what if that same food had a microscopic army inside it that protected people from getting sick, long before we even knew what germs were?
Yeah, the story just keeps getting better.
And here's the real kicker. What if it's influencing your mood, your well-being, literally talking to your brain right now? The food we're talking about, it isn't some expensive, exotic superfood. It's just humble, everyday curd. And trust me, by the end of this, you will never look at it the same way again.
All right, first up, let's take a trip way back in time. Because curd isn't some new age health fad. It's one of humanity's oldest and, frankly, most brilliant inventions. So check this out. Curd wasn't just invented one time in one place. Over 7,000 years ago, people all over the world, from Mesopotamia to ancient India, where they called it dahi, they all figured out this incredible trick, completely independently of each other. They realized that milk, if you just left it in the right conditions, would transform into something totally new and amazing.
And you gotta understand, this solved a massive problem for them. Fresh milk is packed with nutrition, but it goes bad fast, especially with no refrigerators. For our ancestors, this meant a super valuable food source was here one day, gone the next.
So by turning milk into curd, our ancestors created a food that was not only safer to eat, but it lasted so much longer. This wasn't just a recipe. This was, for them, cutting-edge technology. It was a total game changer.
Okay, so how does this magic actually happen? We're going to go from ancient history right down to the microscopic level and meet the invisible army that makes it all possible. Get this, a single, tiny spoonful of curd has over 1 billion beneficial bacteria in it. And these aren't bad guys, they're our allies, mostly from the Lactobacillus family, and they've been working with us for thousands of years.
So what exactly is this army doing? Well, for starters, they chow down on the milk sugar, that's lactose, and they turn it into lactic acid. That's what gives curd that classic tangy taste and thick texture. But they also act like microscopic bodyguards. They fight off the bad microbes, they beef up your gut's defenses, and they're even sending out signals to your immune cells.
And that last part, about the immune system, that is absolutely crucial. Because, and this might blow your mind, something like 70% of your entire immune system lives in your gut. So by feeding your gut these good bacteria, you're basically reinforcing the headquarters of your body's defense force. In this chatty network, it doesn't stop there. There's this incredible thing scientists call the gut-brain axis. Think of it like a superhighway of information, a constant, two-way conversation between your gut and your brain. A happy gut, full of the right kinds of bacteria from foods like curd, can actually lead to a happier, calmer mind.
Okay, so this brings up a really practical question I bet some of you are thinking. Why is it that so many people who can't handle milk are totally fine with curd? Well, it all comes back to that invisible army.
It's pretty amazing, actually. During that fermentation process, those little bacteria basically pre-digest the milk for you. They've already eaten up most of the lactose, the sugar that gives a lot of people trouble, and they've started to break down the big, complex milk proteins into smaller, easier-to-handle pieces. And that's exactly why curd is such a fantastic food for so many different kinds of people. You know, the ancient Indian science of Ayurveda had the perfect name for it ages ago. They called it pre-digested food. It's like your body gets all the good stuff with way less of the work. All right, now let's dig into some of that ancient wisdom surrounding curd and see how it stacks up against modern science. We're talking body temperature and even living longer. So, if you've ever been in India, you might have heard this advice. Don't eat curd at night or when you have a cold. And you might think, oh, that's just an old wives' tale, but it's not. Curd really does have a cooling effect on the body, which is awesome in hot weather. But for some people, it can also ramp up mucus production. And since our digestion slows down at night, you might notice that effect a bit more. It's just a brilliant example of ancient observation that science is now proving to be pretty spot on. But here's where it gets really clever. Our ancestors figured out how to tweak curd's effects. Just by adding simple spices like roasted cumin or a little bit of ginger, they could totally change how it worked in the body. These weren't just recipes for taste, they were formulas. This was functional nutrition, way ahead of its time.
And the link between curd and a long, healthy life? It gets even stronger. Back in the early 20th century, scientists started noticing something curious. The communities with some of the longest living people in the world, places like Bulgaria and the Caucasus region, they all had one thing in common. Every single day, they ate fermented dairy, like curd.
So, what's going on here? Well, the leading theory today points to this really powerful three-step process. First, eating these foods regularly helps keep the bad bacteria in your gut in check. Second, that helps calm down the low-level inflammation that's always simmering in the background as we age. And finally, it helps you keep a wide variety of good gut bugs, which is a sign of great health at any age. It's a recipe for healthy aging that people were practicing for centuries.
Okay, for our final point, let's talk about one of curd's secret superpowers. It isn't just a food you eat, it's an ingredient that makes everything else you're eating even better.
I mean, this is just genius-level smart cooking. When you add curd to other things, its lactic acid and enzymes get to work. They help your body absorb minerals like calcium and magnesium more easily. They can even neutralize things in grains called anti-nutrients that block absorption. And of course, anyone who's ever marinated chicken in it knows it's an amazing, natural meat tenderizer.
So really, the next time you're just casually eating a bowl of curd, take a second and think about it. You're not just eating a snack. You're part of this ancient global tradition of working with nature to create health, a tradition that modern science is only now starting to fully understand and appreciate.
It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other simple foods sitting on your kitchen shelf right now are packed with ancient wisdom and modern science, just waiting for us to notice? What other secrets are hiding in plain sight on your plate?